It is Dom time. Good Friday. Welcome in, Dan. Same suit that people really like, but a new tie today. Usually not the skinny tie look, but I'm trying a different look today.
You know, the way the lights are set up today, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. We do Dining with Dom every day from noon until 1. You can actually see the show. I don't know if you're aware of that. Go like and subscribe our YouTube channel from noon until 1. And on the stream today, the lighting is like perfect that you can actually see the satin nature of your suit. Every time
Very
you wear
nice.
this thing, I feel like there's people in the hallway that want to come and touch it for some
Yeah,
reason.
they're usually men.
Yeah.
I've had that.
Yeah.
I did Inside Story today. Met Senator Tom Carper, first time ever. Awfully nice guy. But, Delaware is a strange place. Look
Yeah.
at what's come out of Delaware.
Yeah.
All right, we do have something breaking now. Our own buddy Megan Brock hasn't been on the show in a while. She'll be here at 12:30 because, Dan, we were tipped off on this yesterday, and Jim got it to me. Students at Perkiomen Valley walked out during second period. I guess after second period or second period began, protesting, according to our information, the fact that the board would not protect females in sports and would not set up, the bathroom, the nonsense locker rooms and all that. When they made a move to do it, and then at the last moment the other night, they didn't follow through. So she'll be here to break that down. Now, look, I'm not a big fan of people walking out of class. I don't know that that's a First Amendment right. It can be overdone. But these kids in Perkiomen Valley have done it before and now walking out today on this issue. And that's rare. Usually these students are so indoctrinated, they're on the other side of it. They think it's all perfectly fine. It's normal to them. This is what they've been indoctrinated in, what they've grown up with. So we'll catch you up on that. I find it to be interesting. All right, let me give you the side question. And then Dan poured through. I was at an appointment yesterday, Dan, and the guy said, "Oh, that seems interesting." Oh, I thought he was going to ask me to turn it down. I had on my phone listening to the Chester County commissioners.
Wait, where were you? A doctor's appointment?
Yeah.
So in the waiting room, you had it?
Yeah, I have it, yeah.
So you're the guy that sits in the waiting room without the headphones and has the phone on blast?
I had it. Yeah, I had it, though.
Okay, you're at least holding up to your ear.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not a big pet peeve, though, when you're sitting in a public place and someone pulls out a phone and at the top of the volume, like the loudest volume they're listening to something.
You always
But that wasn't you, right?
No, you're willing to spring into a pet peeve at a moment's notice.
I know.
I was making the point that at least in the early going in Chester County, you had people that went to that commissioner, and you talk about an undistinguished group. My God, these three commissioners, particularly the guy that Guy Shiraki told us about, the knockoff Josh Shapiro. All right, here is Alberta of West Goshen. This is what she said yesterday, her view on what happened here with this maniac who was on the loose for 2 weeks. Why did it happen? And also, are they a sanctuary county, which it appears that they are? Here's what she said.
And I think this is a time to pause and reflect the status of Chester County as being a sanctuary county. It was all virtue signaling when we really didn't have a problem. It looked really good that, anyone who flees their country, we just never will deport them. But I think it's time to face reality. We have a huge problem at our border. I know specifically people who are harboring illegal aliens in their house in Philadelphia. And the one thing that's most disturbing is that the young lady that was murdered did put a protection order out. And that should have been the first step.
There you go.
To actually check the immigration status and do the due diligence. But apparently we are blinded by some sort of idealized world that people who come over our border are all here to make a better life in America, when in fact they're promised goodies that our government can't afford. And we're getting a large criminal element along with it. So I really call on those who are running for commissioners to actually promise to rescind the sanctuary status of Chester County. Thank you.
Did these people ever comment at any of these public meetings? Yada, 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 yada. You're caught. Time's up. There's no engagement. There's no back and forth. At least that I saw, Dan.
So there was actually a guy, I didn't pull it. I wish I did because I didn't know you were going to say
Right.
that. But he actually went into the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act and read back a passage of it and said to the commissioners, because I guess this is a standing issue at these commissioner meetings there in Chester County, that during public comment, it's essentially just talking to a wall of three people that just stare
Right.
back at you and they never respond. So the guy actually used his time to read back some of the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act and asked for the board to reassess how they organize their meetings. Because he said, I want a conversation. I want to hear your responses. I don't want to speak to a wall and just see three people staring back at me.
Now, there's a law that ought to be passed. Absolutely. You shouldn't be able to sit there with a time clock. Yeah, I got to put up with you morons. Why is there no engage? Well, we can't engage. These people get angry. And Dan, we know the public meetings are holding on the 18th and the 20th out there in Chester County. They've asked for questions have to be in by today. And you made a great point. You should have to answer questions on the fly here. What are you talking about? What a bunch of just slugs. That no back and forth. How in the world? The guy's right. That ought to be part of the law. All right, here is another. This is which is the other one you like best?
I like Aiden. She was
Aiden.
good. Bobby was really good.
Okay.
You want Aiden?
Yeah. You know what I want to play now to make the point first? Cut 10. Here's Karen Bass. She's the mayor now of LA. She was up to be the VP for Joe Biden. Listen to what she says. LA, of course, huge sanctuary city. But she's concerned that planes might be flying in with a lot of illegal immigrants.
Come on.
Well, why? Why wouldn't she be saying, I want you to come to LA? That's what we're here for. Listen to Karen
What they're
Bass.
trying to do is destabilize cities because it's Chicago, it's Washington, D.C., it's New York. It's the narrative that these are Democratic-run cities and that we don't know how to govern and that everything is chaotic here. We live in a city that welcomes immigrants. And so I think we have been able to handle it. But I am fearful that any day planes could start coming.
These progressives, they can't even in the most home court advantage circumstances articulate their way out of a paper bag. In other words, we're a sanctuary. We love that, but we're afraid that they'll be coming here. No, we don't have to send people there to make that narrative. You can't govern, it's chaos. All we have to do is take a look at the big cities run by Democrats. By the way, at 1:40 today, Dan has gotten a big interview because this is a hot issue. The safe injection site, so-called safe injection site, the woman who got it done yesterday, and Dan, inside story taping it today, several people said, well, one woman, the Count Jamie Gauthier, did not show up and vote. Maybe they'll put it in West Philly. I hope they put it in West Philly. Here's the reason why. If they don't dump it in Kensington, how long do you think those people in West Philly are going to put up with some radical putting a safe injection site there? Not very long. That's exactly what will happen. And then we'll see another showdown. All right, here's one more now from the Chester County Commissioners meeting that happened, I guess it was yesterday. Here is Aiden in West Goshen.
Hey, just real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We can do Aiden, but I also did just find that guy about the Sunshine
Yeah,
Act
let's
joke.
hear that. I'd rather hear him than Aiden. Then.
Okay,
Yeah, let's hear him.
here's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took out a little bit there.
Yeah, sure.
He says talking about the meetings that are coming up, and that's where he picks up there.
Yeah. There you go. Dan, I got it. Yeah. Yeah, well, this is what all of them seem to have adopted. Now, Megan Brock, Dan is with us. It's a twofer today, too. I mentioned to listeners, this guy, Bob Harvey, out there running for commissioner in Bucks County, one of the last counties that we might have a shot at. Delaware Valley Journal's got a big story today, how he was interviewed by the grand jury because the allegation is if you didn't unionize your workforce out there in this Falls Township area in Bucks County, well, then, you know those permits you want, Borowski? Maybe they're in the paper file here. Maybe we'll get to them in, I don't know, 50 years or so. How would you like to unionize now? You got a nice Borowski sausage business here. Be a shame if you couldn't get a permit for that. Yeah, well,
Kielbasa, come on.
kielbasa. Yeah, what am I? All right, you got spaghetti, Jordan. Okay. 855-839-1210. We'll talk with Megan Brock. Kind of startling. Not a lot of media coverage. Did the students really walk out at Perkiomen Valley to protest the fact that the board can't seem to pass a policy that's helpful to girls' sports and just females not being invaded by somebody who's transgendered? That's next at 855-839-1210. I didn't give the side question, Dan. I teased it too.
You did.
Side question today. Hit us with an old wives' tale
Yeah.
that you would like to completely debunk. I think I've debunked the one that Dan used to say that all publicity is good. No publicity is bad publicity. That's not true.
I think it is.
You think it's still all publicity
we
is
have a
good?
guy, Donald Trump, who essentially
Yeah.
turned bad publicity into a political winning campaign. I mean,
There's a lot of good publicity and name
that's true
recognition. It's
too.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody says you're a pedophile, that's
Oh,
great.
yeah. You know what? Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not exactly, that's great publicity.
And you know what? I was actually watching a video. It was a 3-hour video on YouTube about Kyrie Irving and the whole flat Earth thing.
Right.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know what? With that publicity, maybe not so great.
Yeah, people say that all the time. They use it as an excuse, somebody who screwed up usually.
Yeah.
All right, it's 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. Megan Brock next. Let's talk FanDuel first. The NFL season is here, and now's the time to get incredible offers from FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. I really like the FanDuel app, and now's the best time to get that. It's easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. Visit FanDuel.com/Dom. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. You have to be 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER. The NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds, terms, and embargoes apply. $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Pleasant breeze. We warmed to 70 at noon, a high of 76 with mostly sunny skies this afternoon. 57 the low tonight, a beautiful day Saturday, still a bit breezy, a high of 78. Then clouds are building on Sunday. After morning sunshine, a chance of afternoon showers, a high of 78 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
All right, Tom time. A lot of good answers to the side question on Twitter. I like them. It's not the heat, it's the humidity. Yeah, right. Try that. Yeah.
Okay, give mine. I haven't taken it off yet.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Dan.
What did I say? The customer is always right. That is not
Yeah.
true at all. Working in customer service for a while, restaurants, retail. Yeah, there are a lot
Talk
of
radio.
wrong
Yes.
customers out
Yeah.
there. The rise of the Karens, Tom.
All right. The rise of the Megan. Megan Brock has not been with us in a while. Our person of the year last year. We haven't forgotten about that. It's in the works. But she's the first one I saw covering on Twitter this walkout of students over in Perkiomen Valley. And apparently they're protesting all the nonsense that's gone on, the usual transgendered stuff that's gone on, and the board's failure to put a policy up on that. Hey, Megan, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Tom, thanks for having me.
Well, I seem to remember Perkiomen Valley before. Some of the kids there, didn't they walk out because they thought they were, quote, banning books in libraries?
You know what? I don't actually remember if that happened specifically in that school district, but I'm sure. I think that happened in Central Bucks. Maybe I believe
Okay.
that maybe that's
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
I don't know that
I
it's
saw a timeline. That's why I was kind of surprised today. We got an email yesterday on this, Megan. What happened?
Well, there was apparently 2 weeks ago, it was reported that a dad made a social media post describing a situation where it sounds like a high school teenage daughter was in a bathroom and thought they saw a boy inside the bathroom or a man inside the bathroom, and was upset by that per the social media post. And so there was a policy that went to the board that they were considering passing that would have made people use the bathroom that aligns with their sex, right? If you're a boy, you use the boys' bathroom. If you're a man, you use, if you're a girl, you use the girls' bathroom. And unfortunately, that policy, it did not pass by I think it was a pretty narrow vote. I believe it was 5-4. I'm not sure about that, but the policy didn't pass, and the students were upset and decided that they were going to have their own protest to try and protect the girls in their school.
So that's kind of unparalleled. I don't remember it happening this way across the area. Do you? It's amazing, in fact.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, someone sent me a video and I saw it, and it brought tears to my eyes because, for one, I mean, the first thing is that students should not be having to defend their need for safety and privacy. I mean, when I think about girls, especially I think about teenage girls, how it's just such a sensitive time in your life. You have so many insecurities and so many changes. And, sadly, there are so many girls who have been sexually abused or sexually traumatized, right? And they have all these things happening. And to think that these girls who are in a vulnerable state of life, in a vulnerable position, are going to have to consider that there might be a man in their bathroom, it boggles my mind. And it really shouldn't fall on the students to be having to stand up for this. But I mean, what an amazing group of kids that they're peacefully standing up for the girls in their school. I think it's really incredible. It really brings tears to your eyes to see the courage of those kids.
Because I'm going to look to see the Inquirer coverage on this, or the Bucks County Courier-Time coverage too.
Right.
Now, one other story, Megan. Delaware Valley Journal, where I write, you're familiar with, sources allege Falls Township in Bucks County allowed union corruption to flourish, colluded with unions. In other words, if you wanted to get just, your permits and all that stuff, it was like Chicago. You got to be in the union.
Wow.
You'd have union. And our buddy, mainly yours, Bob Harvey, apparently, according to the Delaware Valley Journal, testified before the grand jury on all this.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, in two of my 5 lawsuits that Bucks County filed against me for public records, the judge actually ruled that the county acted in bad faith by not giving me records. So to hear that doesn't really surprise me. I'm obviously not a big fan of Bob Harvey because of the things that he's done to me over the past 2 years. But I hope that there is more clarity to that story, because it sounds like the community really could use some transparency into what happened there.
Yeah, and we see the election coming up in Bucks County, at least at the congressional level, has Brian Fitzpatrick. I don't know too much. I know DeGirolamo is one Republican. Who else is running against Harvey and Marseglia?
Pam Von Blanc, who is I forget what it was one of the row officers right now. And I've met her many times and very impressed by her. Very smart woman, very well-spoken, very articulate, and very fair. I think that's one of those things that really struck me about her, is that she's just a very fair person. And when I heard her talk about why she was running, I think she really cares about Bucks County, and she working in the county. I'm sure. I always just think like the craziness that I personally have experienced in public with the county commissioners, with Bob Harvey and Diane Marseglia, and the way they've acted, the way they've spoken, I have found it extremely inappropriate. I can only imagine what must go on behind closed doors. And I've had many people tell me stories, like, off the record about things they've experienced. So I would imagine that working in the county, I'm sure she's probably seen a lot and really cares about the county and wants to make a difference. So yeah, I think that she would be a great leader, and I think she would do a great job.
To that point, behind the scenes, now look, I can never say never. I haven't sniffed, though, due to the new, we have the head of the CDC now, the new head wanting kids 6 months and up to be vaccinated. Like that's really going to happen in any kind of numbers. How about Dr. Damsker? What's your sense of what goes on with him now?
I have no idea. I'm in litigation to try and get the rest of the emails, but I don't know. I think it's still pretty quiet. I hope at some point we'll be able to have the full story, but I can't speak to what's going on with him. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens in this election, right? I mean, if the commissioner, if the leadership of the county changes from Democrats to Republican, I think there's perhaps there's more of a shot at getting some real transparency into what happened in the past.
Without a doubt. Megan, thank you. Thanks for being on top of it, as always. To be continued. Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, Tom. All right, bye.
Megan Brock. It is unusual. Kids walking out of Perkiomen Valley High School protesting more males coming into female bathrooms and the like. When I first heard about it yesterday, I thought, oh, maybe it's the other way. Maybe they're protesting. They don't like the board even questioning that. It doesn't appear to be that. All right, so we got the side question going on here. 855-839-1210. You can get in. An old wives' tale that you think has been debunked, even though a number of people like Dan still may follow one of these. Have we thoroughly debunked the old wives' tales, Dan, used to be about swimming? In other words, if you eat anything at all, they're sitting there with a stopwatch. All right, it's an hour. You can go in now. You had a peanut, There was a lot of cramping, a lot of stuff you're drowned around that. So it could be broader than that. This coming off today, National Tradesmen Day, and the fact that it's starting to become more standard. You're seeing a breakout here that not everyone should or has to go to college. It's still a debate. It's still a debate. People say it, but I'm talking about the practical. How many jobs still require a college degree? When we see fewer jobs require it, we'll know that that's been put to bed. That's the tell. All right, 855-839-1210. Coming up, your calls. And during the time of year, these high holy days for people of the Jewish faith, Dan, you would think the University of Pennsylvania would not be bringing in some of the most anti-Israel, I would say anti-Semitic activists for a literature festival happening out there on Penn's campus. I'll give you the name of a guy who is rock royalty, big time. I would say among the top 10, top 5 even, most well-known rock bands of all time. No, not the Beatles, not the Stones. Maybe a rung down. And is a rabid anti-Semitic, anti-Israel during his performances now. He's coming to town. Why is Penn doing that? Because they do whatever the heck they want, apparently. All right, phone lines, 855-839-1210. September, Cholesterol Education Month. It's time to take charge. How is your cholesterol? For over 38 years, Rescue Natural Supplements has been a trusted partner in cholesterol support. I've relied on Rescue supplements for years. With Rescue, you'll find specific supplements tailored to your needs, favorites like omega-3s, red yeast rice, and more. And right now, all you have to do is use the code DROP, D-R-O-P, to double up your order on any cholesterol product for free. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant, or use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Again, use the code DROP, Buy one, get a matching Rescue cholesterol product for free. I personally have seen the firsthand benefits of Rescue supplements. They are incredible. Remember, just use the code DROP, DROP, double up your cholesterol support. Order for free today. All right, Dom Giordano Show. Dan, on our side question, Johnny Z. Mulligan's down at the shore says it's an old wives' tale, a whopper of an old wives' tale. Beer will skunk if it's cold, and then you later serve it
Wait,
at room temperature.
That's a wives' tale? I always thought that to be true.
Here's a man who knows
I mean,
Mulligan's.
yeah, if anyone knows, it's John. He's been working in the industry. He has both a bar and a liquor
Right.
store, so he would know. I didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
All right, so remember that, all you beer drinkers out there for
Today
the
I
weekend. You
learned.
got it right there from Johnny Z.
Like, because I'm super, like, I'll go if I go to the beer store, I'll buy cold if I know I'm gonna put it straight into the fridge. But if I
Yeah.
know it's got to sit out for a bit, I refuse to buy cold, thinking that if it cools down, it's gonna skunk. So that's good to know, John. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Now, who is the rabid anti-Israel, at least, or anti-Semite coming here, Dan? Roger Waters of Pink Floyd fame.
Oh,
He's a supporter of boycott, divest, sanctions. He has equated Israel to Nazi Germany. Earlier this year, the U.S. State Department says Waters has a long track record of using anti-Semitic tropes. And it said at a concert he gave recently in Germany, it contained imagery that's
yeah.
deeply offensive to Jewish people and minimized. This is what he does, I've heard, in the act. Somebody comes over, look, you got to put up with Springsteen saying, all right, during the middle of a set. This guy comes over and minimizes the Holocaust between songs. Who's putting up with that? I mean, doesn't there have to be a limit? You love the music, you love something about an artist where you go, that's it. I can't put up with it.
Like, I'm looking right here, Dom. This is from the New York Times itself. So this isn't
Yeah.
like some crazy, this
Yeah.
is real. This is really happening. He was under investigation from the Berlin police because he wore clothing that was so similar to the SS and Nazis during his concerts in Germany that they had to investigate him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, University of Penn, does he inquire? Anybody have anything to say? No. Well, Joe Biden did have something to say about it, Dan. Yesterday, here's what Biden told us. This is cut 6C. Here's what Biden said about his time at the University of Penn.
We not only recovered all the jobs we lost during the pandemic, we've added millions
Oh,
more.
sorry, that's the wrong one I have.
Okay.
Yeah, which one did you want?
6A.
6A. I had 6C there.
Our democracy is under attack, and we got to fight for it. I taught at the University of Pennsylvania for 4 years, and I used to teach political theory.
Yeah. Well,
Come on.
were you telling them we're not a democracy, you windbag, that we're a constitutional republic? Were you telling them that? But they love the democracy thing. They don't want to say, why can't they say, Trump, our republic is under attack? No, it's democracy. They have to go there. Another lie. He did not teach anything there at any time and under any circumstance. All right. Disturbing story out there from the Daily Mail today. We're going to call it Real Housewives of South Dakota. That Kristi Noem, over the period of several years, has been hooking up with Corey Lewandowski. Lewandowski and Noem.
Really?
Now, you could say, well, these are other rivals in the Republican Party since she might be Trump's VP. Would that knock her out as VP? I mean, you can say, given Trump's background and everything that's going on in there, this would fit right in. But I think it's going to be hard, if this is true, to maintain, criticism of other things that people do if this is going on. There you go.
That's a very strange. Like, do you think they're a good couple or?
Well, they're both married. I mean, she's married, and I think he's married too.
I didn't know all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she's definitely married.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
No, I don't
that's
care.
amazing.
No,
Yeah.
if they were hooking up together, who cares? I don't care.
Ooh, that's some juice there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
going to be problematic. Now, what other females that want to be VP might have sent this out? I don't know. We'll find out. Unsubstantiated. I think she's going to address the media. There's going to be something.
Oh, so you're
coming out
thinking this might have been a leak politically?
Oh,
as
yeah.
like a...
Yeah. Somebody leaked to the Daily Mail politically that probably knows Lewandowski.
Oh, yeah, I guess how else would they know, right?
Yeah, knows Lewandowski more than Kristi Noem. Look, we love Corey Lewandowski politically. We know when he's come on, he's unbelievable. But if this is true, this is a problem.
You think he'd come on the show to address it?
I don't know. Trump is contradictory. He might say, I want her even more now to be the VP. Oh, my God. All right. 855-839-1210. Andy McCarthy is going to break down what does this mean definitively with Hunter Biden? How serious is it? And the impeachment inquiry with Trump, with Biden. We'll get to both of those. We got the side question going on, 855-839-1210. You get in on Talk Radio 1210. There are certain home maintenance chores we'd all rather not do, like repainting the exterior of your home every 5 years. Who wants to do something like that? Here's an incredible permanent solution to that problem. It's Rhino Shield. That's because Rhino Shield looks like paint, goes on like paint, but it never chips, cracks, or fades. It's ceramic coating. It's guaranteed for life. You never have to paint again. The local Rhino Shield owner, John Gilgee, is a great guy, friend of the program. I've been impressed with John, the product, the company. It's perfect for any surface. And you get that beauty of fresh paint, the maintenance of vinyl, even insulate your home. Comes with a big 25-year guarantee that you can transfer if you sell your home. Now, John meets with as many homeowners as he can himself, and they've helped thousands of Delaware Valley residents, including many of my listeners, upgrade the look and quality of their home. Call him now. You can still save an incredible 20%. Visit myrhinoshield.com or 844-RHINO-99. That's 844-RHINO-99. Dom Giordano Show. Welcome in, 855-839-1210. Andy McCarthy will be here in a couple of minutes. I think he's fresh off Fox News Channel. And he'll put it in context. I mean, there's some people that immediately knee-jerk because it pleases some people to say, Hunter Biden thing, that's just a distraction, doesn't mean anything, etc. Okay, we'll see about that. I think it does mean something. Now, there are other charges Are they in the offing, not putting all this money down on his tax? And the obvious, the low-hanging fruit, not registering as a lobbyist. Now, I don't know the penalties, how far that would go. The president, Biden, though, is insulated somewhat on the gun charges. So that's the main thing. In other words, Biden isn't drawn into that in any way other than politically. You can make arguments, but not legally. All right, so he'll be here in a couple minutes on that. And at the end of the hour, around 1:40, we have on the city councilwoman from Kensington who was able to get Philadelphia City Council essentially to ban so-called supervised injection sites. I say, you know, it is not ironclad. Nothing is in Philadelphia, but it's going to be pretty difficult to get it into almost all of Philadelphia. Now, will these activists give up on it? No, they won't. Just a moment. Leanne Savaloff, Jody Della Barbara, and the women over in Kensington, Harrogate, Sam Oropeza, Dan, and all these others that fought so hard against this. And whoever becomes a new mayor is certainly opposed to this. But just let me call out a little bit. These activists, one of whom is married, I believe, to somebody high up in the Philadelphia Inquirer. They want to get their way. They're just determined. They're elitist. There's a nun involved, as you know. And Dan, I can't help but see the Archbishop Perez not put out a pastoral letter and saying to Catholics, this is immoral. You cannot bring someone in, allow them to destroy themselves, shooting up drugs, and then say this is a moral act. We're just trying to save their life. A society, that is not an act you can commit. He should be in the forefront of saying no. Why doesn't he? That's a good question. There's still power there. There's still tons of Catholics all over the place. It's similar to what's happening on the abortion issue. By the way, I told you in the opening monologue today, if you missed it, that on Wednesday night, this guy Scutari, he is the senator who is the head of the Senate in Jersey. He took over for, took over for Phil Murphy when Murphy was at his Italian villa near George Clooney. He spoke at Planned Parenthood meeting the other night. He attacked Republicans, saying they're bringing up phony issues. They're just trying to gin up support by bringing up the issue of all these transgender issues in schools. 2, they're bringing up the wind turbines and the whales. And he said, I'll tell you what's on the ballot, though. Abortion. You see where they're going. And I sit here, the gathering storm, and I'm not feeling real good that Republicans have articulated a message on this that's effective enough. You got to play offense. You got to play defense. If they can, they're going to win in this cycle and then in the presidential cycle. If they can't, then it's going to be really close. All right, let's go to our legal advisor extraordinaire, fresh off Fox News Channel, the great Andy McCarthy here on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Andy, thanks for jumping in today.
Tom, it's my pleasure.
Well, tell me, you know, there are voices out there saying, Hunter Biden, this is a bit of a sweetheart deal again. I don't see it that way. I think that this could be big trouble for him. So you tell me, assess how much legal peril awaits Hunter Biden, if any.
Well, you know, look, I don't want to poo-poo the whole thing. 3 felony gun counts is not a small thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I think, even if he's convicted, I don't think much of his defenses at the moment. Let's assume he's convicted. Even though I think he will have as good arguments as I've ever heard a defendant be in a position to make to the court for why he should get no jail time, namely that the prosecutors themselves tried to disappear the case and guarantee him no jail time. So obviously the government didn't think much of these offenses. You're not usually able to go in and use the prosecutors as your best exhibit in the sentencing hearing. But, you know, sentencing's up to the judge, Tom. It's not going to, you know, frankly, if the prosecutors were running this show, this case would already have disappeared, right? And whichever judge ends up with this case may have a very different take on it than the Justice Department has had, and obviously than Hunter's lawyers do. So, he's looking at 3 felony gun charges. It would be normal to do time in a case like this. So it's a serious matter. I do think, however, that the way this case has been handled, you can't really trust the prosecutor to follow through on the things that need following through on. And in the meantime, he's completely sabotaged the important part of the case, which is obviously the foreign money coming into the Biden family coffers.
His tax problems here potentially and the foreign lobbyist stuff, are there any tells that Weiss will move on those?
I worry that he can't move on them. I was on an interview earlier today where we were talking about the case, and somebody said to me, what about this just the $3.5 million from the Russian oligarch and the money from the Chinese and the money from the Kazakhstan guy? And I'm like, well, the money from Yelena Baturino, that was 2014. The Chinese deals were basically, 2013 and 2016 into 17, that period of time. The latest stuff we've seen on Burisma was 2014 through 2016. This is a long-winded way, Dom, of saying it's a 5-year statute of limitations on FARA violations and virtually all federal criminal violations except tax. That's a 6-year statute of limitations. Most of this case is gone already. If you think of this prosecutor, Weiss, as a prosecutor, you just shake your head. If you think of him, as I do, as somebody whose assignment was to make the case against Joe Biden go away,
right,
then everything falls into place. Because the stuff that's gone is the most important stuff to me, which is 2014, 2015, 2016, when he was vice president. All that stuff is time barred now because of the way Weiss ran this case.
Now, I'm not sure if it's in your area, but you've done enough stuff. I think I'd ask it. The impeachment inquiry. Here's a question I have when you look at the dynamic of what Republicans are doing. And Andy, several people asked me this today, and I couldn't legitimately say. We hear Republicans get added power now with an inquiry. What does that mean? If you had to assess it, scale of 1 to 10, because these are complicated matters to get at the bottom of Hunter Biden, particularly connecting Joe Biden. What do we know from Watergate or anything like that? What kind of added power do you get with an impeachment inquiry?
All right. Well, I did happen to write a book about impeachment in 2014.
Yes.
It happens that Barack Obama was president and no one wanted to talk about it, Dom. I can't understand that. Right? I think that you could, in theory, get more power by having an impeachment inquiry if it was one that was voted by the House. Because what typically happens historically, what happens to open an impeachment inquiry is you have a vote of the full House, which designates a committee to conduct the impeachment inquiry. It's usually the Judiciary Committee, but they can make a special committee. They can designate any committee. They can designate an amalgam of committees, but you're writing a resolution. And then the important part of it is you then define what the scope of the investigation is and what their power to conduct information demands is. And the important difference is when Congress is doing its normal legislative work, like oversight committee, judiciary, ways and means, what have you, everything they do is supposed to have a legislative purpose. Even if it looks like they're trying to conduct a criminal investigation, like the January 6th committee was trying to do,
right.
They always say that they're trying to come up with some legislation to address some problem. They don't have to do that as an impeachment committee because in impeachment, the House of Representatives is kind of acting like a grand jury. They're precisely investigating crime toward the end of, like, do you have treason, bribery, or high crimes and misdemeanors? So they do have more latitude to conduct themselves like a criminal investigation than they usually do. But again, you would want to have a vote from the full House and a resolution that made that clear.
So it seems like they haven't gone the way that you're talking about. So the added power might be a bit diluted here because these things, do you agree, Andy? They're not going to get at Biden based upon what they've unearthed so far. I mean, they don't have access to anything that I think would be a smoking gun. They need that access.
Yeah, but I think, Dom, that they had, as the Oversight Committee, the Judiciary Committee, and the Ways and Means Committee, they have more than enough authority without being an impeachment committee to issue subpoenas. They look at the Ways and Means Committee, I believe it was, that subpoenaed Trump's financial information for a lot less good reason than what these committees now have to investigate Biden. So they have the authority to do it. I think the oomph that people think about in connection with an impeachment committee is that just as a political matter, it seems like a bigger deal to obstruct an impeachment committee than and so I think politically they get a little bit of bang out of it. But if they want to get, any legal oomph so that they can go, if people defy their subpoenas, they can hold them in contempt, they can take them to court, they can do all kinds of things, then I think you would want to get a resolution voted on.
Makes sense to me too. Andy, thank you. Thanks as always. What do you have coming up? What are you working on now?
Oh, so I mean, the end of this week has been crazy because I don't think we knew that the Hunter Biden thing was coming until around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So I'm working on something now, Dom, to outline what I think Hunter's defenses are, or the ones he's going to try. And in the meantime, I'll have a big column in National Review, my Saturday column that comes out every week, will be about the monstrousness of Fani Willis's RICO indictment against President Trump.
All right. We'll look forward to that, Andy. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Tom. You too.
All right. Andy McCarthy here on Talk Radio 1210. How much more power do they get by doing this? That's the political gamble. It seems to me that they do. But Andy McCarthy thinks maybe they should have subpoenaed more people. They already had power. All right. Hit us with something that you think is an old wives' tale. Maybe for years people believed it, but it's been debunked. We gave you a lot of examples. Let's go to Donna in Newcastle. All right, Donna, afternoon. What's your old wives' tale?
Hi. I think mine was debunked the same time it came out. But I remember as a kid when we would be eating watermelon, we were told that if you swallow one of the seeds, the watermelon will grow in your stomach.
Yes, that's a great one. That's a great one to get kids with that. I think that's still under at University of Penn, Dan. They're still working on that. Thank you, Donna.
My parents used to, when we would pass a pregnant woman, would occasionally say, look, she must have eaten a watermelon.
There you go. All right. That one, I can't clarify that as debunked. That is a great old wives' tale. Why would they tell kids that? I mean, are they being that hyper about swallowing a seed?
I guess just a choking hazard, maybe trying to. But on that note, just say it can make you choke.
Exactly.
That's enough to scare a kid, right?
Well, we know that Cavalcante was subsisting off a watermelon farm. That's what he said. He was eating watermelon all the time.
Is there protein in watermelon?
No, I don't know. I thought he was robbing other stuff, but that's what he was subsisting off. Okay, it's 855-839-1210. You get in AT&T and Verizon Wireless. All you have to do is just push pound 1210. This auto workers thing is fascinating. One of the big contentions is they don't like the electric vehicles. It means fewer jobs, Biden. And they don't like the fact that the adjustments, the inflation adjustments don't come anywhere near matching what Biden has done. In Michigan, inflation is still around 6%. So Biden is right in the center of this whole thing. Now, they're asking for a 40% raise, which is outlandish on the surface, and they want to go back to the old-time pensions, neither of which I think is going to happen. But their argument is that the big three are investing in electric vehicles, and they won't give anything to the workers. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in on Talk Radio 1210.